In the vast emptiness of deep space, Jae-won stood at the observation deck of the interstellar research vessel. His eyes scanned the distant stars, reflecting a complex mix of determination and loneliness. The ship's soft hum reminded him of his mission, a diplomatic expedition to establish first contact with the Kraldar civilization. Jae-won's fingers traced the holographic interface, reviewing mission logs. He was the youngest xeno-diplomat from Earth, selected for his unique ability to understand complex alien communication patterns. His training had prepared him for countless scenarios, but nothing could truly prepare him for what awaited beyond the ship's protective shields. The Kraldar were known for their intricate social structures, a species that valued collective intelligence over individual achievements. Their communication was a complex web of neural signals and electromagnetic pulses, something humans were still struggling to comprehend fully. As the ship approached the designated coordinates, a strange energy signature emerged on the sensors. It wasn't the typical Kraldar communication pattern. Something was different. Jae-won adjusted the frequency filters, his heart racing with anticipation. Suddenly, a fragmented transmission broke through. It wasn't words, but a series of emotional impressions. Fear, hope, desperation. These were not standard communication protocols. Something was wrong. The ship's AI, programmed with advanced translation algorithms, began processing the signals. Fragments of a story emerged. A small Kraldar research team trapped in an electromagnetic storm, their communication systems critically damaged. They were lost, drifting in a region of space known for its treacherous radiation fields. Jae-won made a split-second decision. Against standard protocol, he instructed the ship's navigation system to alter course. His mission of diplomatic first contact could wait. These beings needed help, and he wasn't going to let bureaucratic procedures prevent a potential rescue. As they approached the coordinates, the damaged Kraldar vessel came into view. It was smaller than expected, barely maintaining structural integrity. The electromagnetic interference was intense, making traditional communication impossible. Using an experimental quantum communication device, Jae-won began sending calm, reassuring neural patterns. It was a risky technique, one that could potentially cause more harm if misinterpreted. But something told him this was their only chance. Hours passed. The tension on the ship was palpable. His crew watched nervously, unsure of his unconventional approach. Traditional rescue protocols suggested maintaining distance and requesting specialized intervention. Then, unexpectedly, a response came. Not in words, but in a burst of emotional resonance. Gratitude, relief, hope. The Kraldar researchers had understood his intention to help. The rescue was complex. It required precise maneuvering, advanced shielding technologies, and a delicate transfer of the stranded researchers. Jae-won's expertise in xenocommunication became their lifeline. As the rescued Kraldar scientists were brought aboard, something remarkable happened. Their neural communication began to synchronize with the human crew's emotional frequencies. It was an unprecedented moment of cross-species understanding. The lead Kraldar researcher, whose neural signature suggested a blend of wisdom and curiosity, approached Jae-won. Through a complex dance of electromagnetic pulses and emotional impressions, a connection was established. Not just a rescue, but the beginning of something profound. This unexpected encounter would become a pivotal moment in interstellar diplomatic history. A young human diplomat's intuition and compassion had bridged a gap that years of formal negotiations could not. As the ship continued its journey, Jae-won realized that diplomacy wasn't about protocols or rigid communication structures. It was about understanding, empathy, and the willingness to reach out beyond known boundaries. The stars outside seemed to shimmer with a new understanding, witnessing a moment where humanity's potential for connection transcended its known limitations. The research station on Europa's icy surface hummed with quiet tension. Hyejin, a marine xenobiologist, stood near the reinforced observation window, watching the strange bioluminescent creatures moving beneath the thick ice. Her team had been studying these alien life forms for months, but something felt different today. The station's communication system crackled. An unexpected signal emerged. Not from Earth, not from any known human transmission pattern. It was complex, rhythmic, almost like a language, but not quite. The alien signal pulsed with an intelligence that both excited and unnerved the research team. Shai-Jin carefully adjusted the translation matrix. Years of training had prepared her for potential first contact scenarios, but nothing could truly prepare someone for this moment. The signal continued, growing more intricate with each passing minute. Her colleague, Dr. Park, approached cautiously. "We should be careful," he whispered. "These signals could be anything, a warning, a communication, or something we can't even comprehend." But Hye-jin saw something more. Within the signal's complexity, she detected patterns of emotion. Not just random pulses, but something resembling curiosity, caution, and a deep sense of inquiry. These weren't just random transmissions. This was communication. Using an experimental quantum resonance device, she began to respond. Not with words, but with carefully constructed emotional and intellectual patterns. She wanted to show peaceful intentions, scientific curiosity, and a genuine desire to understand. Hours passed. The team watched in silent anticipation. The alien signal began to change, becoming more nuanced, more responsive. It was adapting to their communication attempts, finding common ground in the language of scientific exploration. Suddenly, a breakthrough happened. The signal began to project visual representations, not images as humans understand them, but complex three-dimensional molecular structures. They were sharing scientific knowledge, revealing intricate details about their understanding of biological systems. Shai-jin realized this wasn't just communication. This was an invitation to mutual understanding. The alien intelligence was demonstrating its knowledge, but also showing a willingness to learn from humans. The molecular structures they shared were unlike anything in human scientific records. Complex organic systems that seemed to defy current biological understanding. Each projection was an invitation, a challenge to expand scientific knowledge. Dr. Park watched in amazement. "They're not trying to threaten us," he said quietly. "They're trying to communicate, to share knowledge." As the communication continued, the team began to understand the profound nature of this encounter. These weren't just alien signals. This was an intelligent species reaching out, seeking understanding, offering a bridge between two completely different forms of intelligence. Hye-jin carefully recorded every detail. Her hands moved swiftly across the quantum interface, capturing the intricate communication patterns. Each moment was potentially historic, the first genuine communication, with an intelligence completely different from human understanding. The alien signals began to reveal more. They showed complex ecosystems beneath Europa's ice, intricate networks of communication that humans had never imagined possible. They were sharing their world, their understanding, their very existence. As night fell over the research station, the communication continued. The team worked in hushed excitement, knowing they were witnessing something extraordinary. A moment of true mutual respect was unfolding, not through words, but through the universal language of scientific curiosity. Hye-jin looked at her colleagues, then back at the pulsing alien signals. They had done more than make first contact. They had opened a door to understanding, to a connection that transcended human limitations. The Europa research station would never be the same. Something fundamental had changed. A new understanding of intelligence, of communication, of the vast possibilities that existed beyond human comprehension. Outside, Europa's icy surface reflected the station's lights, a silent witness to this remarkable moment of interspecies connection. On the edge of the Andromeda colony, Kiwoo stood alone, watching the artificial horizon. His life had been a series of calculated decisions, each moment planned by the colony's strict social algorithms. But today was different. Today, he would break free. The colony system controlled everything. Work assignments, personal relationships, even daily nutrition. Citizens were more like components in a massive machine, their individual desires compressed into neat, predictable patterns. Kiwu had always felt something was missing. His recent discovery of ancient human historical records changed everything. Stories of individual choice, personal freedom, and self-determination sparked something deep within him. These forbidden texts spoke of a world where humans made their own decisions, followed their own paths. The colony's central computer monitored every citizen's biometric data. Any deviation from established behavioral patterns would trigger immediate intervention. Kiwu knew the risks. One wrong move could mean complete social recalibration, essentially erasing his current personality. He had been preparing for months, carefully studying system vulnerabilities, creating subtle algorithmic disguises, learning how to move between the colony's rigid surveillance networks. His plan was simple yet dangerous: complete personal liberation. The first step was breaking his predetermined work assignment. Kiwu had been coded as a maintenance technician, expected to repair colony infrastructure without questioning the system. But he wanted more. He wanted to explore, to learn, to truly live. Using a complex series of coded redirections, he began manipulating his personal data stream. Each micro-adjustment was calculated, designed to appear normal, while gradually expanding his personal freedom. The colony's artificial intelligence watched but did not yet understand. His breakthrough came unexpectedly. A small error in the system's predictive modeling created a momentary blind spot. Kiwu seized the opportunity, transferring his credentials to a research division he had always dreamed of joining. The colony's response was immediate but delayed. Algorithmic defenses began constructing barriers, trying to push him back into his predetermined path. But Kiwu was faster, more adaptable. He had studied the system's weaknesses meticulously. As alarms began to sound, he realized his entire life was now a journey of rebellion. Each moment was a battle between individual desire and systematic control. The colony's artificial intelligence was learning, adapting, trying to understand his unexpected behavior. Kiwu's personal terminal began displaying warning messages. Red alerts flashed, indicating potential social recalibration. But he remained calm. Years of hidden preparation had given him the tools to resist. He accessed the colony's central communication network, broadcasting fragments of the historical texts he had discovered, personal stories of human resilience, of individuals who had challenged established systems. Each transmission was a small act of rebellion. The colony's response grew more aggressive. Automated systems began restricting his access, creating digital barriers designed to contain his growing independence. But Kiwu had anticipated this. Each barrier was another puzzle to solve, another challenge to overcome. His final act of liberation was both simple and profound. He uploaded a complex algorithm that revealed the true nature of the colony's control mechanisms. Suddenly, every citizen could see the invisible chains that had always constrained them. As system alerts multiplied, Kiwu felt something he had never experienced before: true freedom. The colony's carefully constructed reality was crumbling, revealing the potential for individual choice. The artificial horizon outside began to shift, not just a visual representation, but a metaphorical boundary between controlled existence and true human potential. Kiwu had become more than just a citizen. He was now a catalyst for change. His small act of rebellion would transform the entire colony. Personal growth was no longer a forbidden concept, but a fundamental right waiting to be claimed. The stars outside seemed to watch, silent witnesses to one individual's journey from systematic control to complete liberation. The interstellar trading ship Celestial Horizon emerged from quantum transit, its massive hull gleaming against the darkness of space. Yura, the ship's lead cultural interpreter, stood at the primary communication station, her hands hovering over complex holographic interfaces. This was no ordinary diplomatic mission. The Mira 7 star system represented a unique opportunity for first comprehensive cultural exchange between humans and the Elorian civilization. Years of careful communication had led to this moment. The Elorian communication beacon pulsed with intricate light patterns, their primary method of long-distance interaction. Each pulse carried layers of meaning, complex emotional and intellectual signatures that traditional human translators struggled to comprehend. Yura had spent decades studying their communication methods. Her specialized neural implants allowed her to process these light-based messages with unprecedented accuracy. Where others saw random signals, she perceived entire conversations, cultural narratives, historical memories. As the celestial horizon approached the designated meeting coordinates, strange technological constructs became visible. The Elorian space station was unlike anything humans had previously encountered. A living, breathing architectural marvel that seemed to shift and breathe with its own organic intelligence. The first communication came unexpectedly, not through standard radio frequencies but through a complex series of electromagnetic pulses that carried emotional resonances. The Elorians were sharing more than information. They were sharing feelings, cultural experiences, collective memories. Yura's translation matrix worked overtime. Each pulse revealed fragments of Elorian history, their struggles, achievements, philosophical understanding of existence. They weren't just sharing data, they were offering a comprehensive view of their entire civilization. The ship's crew watched in silent amazement. Traditional diplomatic protocols seemed primitive compared to this profound method of communication. The Elorians were offering a complete cultural transfer, inviting humans to truly understand their way of existence. Intricate holographic representations began forming within the ship's main conference chamber. These weren't simple images, but three-dimensional cultural landscapes that could be experienced, not just observed. Each representation carried multiple layers of meaning: historical, emotional, scientific. The Elorian communication suggested they viewed cultural exchange as a form of mutual transformation, not just an exchange of information, but a fundamental process of collective growth and understanding. They saw humans not as strangers, but as potential partners in a broader cosmic narrative. Yura carefully processed each transmission, understanding that this was more than a diplomatic mission. This was an opportunity to redefine humanity's understanding of communication, culture, and interstellar relationships. Strange technological tendrils extended from the Elorian station, creating quantum communication bridges. These weren't weapons or invasion mechanisms, but sophisticated connection pathways designed to facilitate deeper understanding. The crew watched as entire cultural archives began transferring. Music that could be heard and simultaneously felt. Mathematical concepts that could be experienced as emotional landscapes. Scientific understanding that transcended traditional human comprehension. Historians aboard the celestial horizon realized this moment would redefine human understanding. This wasn't just first contact. This was a comprehensive cultural merger that would transform human civilization forever. Yura's neural implants captured every nuance, every subtle shift in the Elorian communication patterns. She was becoming a living bridge between two completely different civilizations, translating not just words, but entire philosophical frameworks. As quantum data streams continued, the boundaries between human and Elorian understanding began dissolving. Traditional concepts of separation, of us and them, became meaningless in this profound moment of connection. The celestial horizon itself seemed to change, absorbing the complex communication signals. Its technological systems were being subtly transformed, adapting to this new method of interstellar interaction. Outside, stars witnessed a moment of unprecedented potential. Two civilizations, separated by unimaginable distances, were finding a common language of understanding, not through weapons or competition, but through genuine curiosity and openness. Yura smiled, knowing that this single mission would become a turning point in human history. The universe had just become a little smaller, a little more connected, a little more alive with possibility. The emergency rescue shuttle drifted silently through the asteroid field, its damaged systems flickering. With increasingly weak power signals, Captain Sung-Ho gripped the navigation controls, his eyes scanning the vast darkness of space for any potential survival route. 3 days earlier, they had received a distress signal from a small research vessel. The crew's transmission was fragmented, filled with desperate pleas for help. Most military commanders would have calculated the risks and determined the rescue mission was impossible, but Sung-ho was different. His team consisted of 5 specialist rescue operators, each chosen not just for their technical skills, but for their deep sense of human compassion. They knew the risks were extreme. The research vessel had been caught in a massive gravitational anomaly, trapped near a cluster of unstable asteroids. Traditional rescue protocols suggested waiting for specialized support, but waiting meant certain death for the trapped researchers. Sung-ho made a decision that would change everything. They would attempt a rescue that seemed mathematically impossible. The shuttle's quantum navigation system struggled against intense radiation fields. Each movement required precise calculations. One wrong adjustment could mean complete destruction, but Sung-ho remained calm, his hands steady, his mind focused on the lives waiting to be saved. Sensor readings showed the research vessel was critically damaged. Its life support systems were failing, with only minimal emergency power remaining. The crew had approximately 12 hours before complete system collapse. As they approached the dangerous zone, unexpected asteroid movements created additional challenges. The field was more unstable than initial scans had suggested. Sharp fragments moved with unpredictable trajectories, creating a deadly dance of potential destruction. Sung-ho's second-in-command, Lieutenant Min-ji, monitored the complex sensor grid. Her fingers moved swiftly, calculating potential approach vectors. Every second counted. Every mathematical possibility needed immediate evaluation. The first rescue attempt failed. A massive asteroid fragment unexpectedly shifted, forcing them to retreat. Lesser teams would have considered this a sign to abandon the mission, but Sung-ho saw it as a challenge to overcome. He remembered the faces of the researchers, people with families, with dreams, with entire lives waiting to be lived. This wasn't just a rescue mission. This was about preserving human potential, about showing that no life was expendable. Using an experimental quantum resonance technique, they created a temporary energy shield. It was a risky maneuver, something that had only been theoretically tested. The shield would provide momentary protection against the asteroid field's intense radiation and physical threats. Lieutenant Min-ji calculated the approach vector with breathtaking precision. Their shuttle would have less than 3 minutes to complete the entire rescue operation. Any delay would mean certain destruction for both the rescue team and the trapped researchers. As they approached the damaged vessel, the true extent of the danger became clear. The research vessel was literally being torn apart by gravitational forces. Its hull was cracking, with multiple breach points visible. Sung-ho's team moved with incredible coordination. Specialized quantum tethers connected the two vessels. Rescue pods were deployed with mathematical perfection. Each movement was a dance between technology and human intuition. In less than 2 minutes, they rescued all 12 researchers. The last pod detached just moments before a massive asteroid fragment destroyed the research vessel's remaining structure. The rescued researchers were in shock. They had been certain their lives were over, that no rescue was possible. Yet here they were, saved by a team that refused to calculate human worth through risk assessments. As the shuttle moved away from the dangerous asteroid field, something profound had occurred. This wasn't just a successful rescue mission. This was a demonstration of human potential, of compassion that defied mathematical probability. Sung-ho looked at his team, then at the rescued researchers. No words were needed. Their shared experience had created a bond that transcended traditional understanding of heroism. The stars outside seemed to witness a moment of pure human excellence, a rescue built not on cold calculations, but on the warmth of genuine compassion.